What a week. Lehman Brothers gone. Merrill Lynch bought. AIG lent $85 billion from you and me. New rules for investing. $180 billion pumped into global markets. Right now, we do not yet know the details of what this monster bailout actually is, only that it will be massive and costly. And in the short term may have saved the economy from utter disaster. The long term, where is all this money coming from?
We don't have this money. The Federal Reserve doesn't even have enough money if it's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars, like Henry Paulson said today.
So they're just going to print it up.
But they are going to have to issue bonds and sell those bonds and get money for them. That's what we call printing money.
Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson said that the government is taking such drastic action. Well, here's how he explained it. Let's listen.
I am convinced that this bold approach will cost American families far less than the alternative: a continuing series of financial institution failures and frozen credit markets unable to fund economic expansion.
You say he's dead wrong.
Well, he's constantly been wrong. Remember, this is the guy that said subprime was contained. This is the guy who a few weeks ago said the bazooka in his pocket would never have to be used, and now he basically launched a nuclear warhead. It's because of the Fed that we had all these teaser rates and adjustable rate mortgages. It's because of the Fed that we had a housing bubble. Without the Fed...
So you're saying this bailout is going to do what now?
Well, it's going to make the situation worse. All we're doing is creating inflation. We're not eliminating these losses.
Worse than what? Worse than every 2 weeks having a discussion about taking over a bank and then the Federal Reserve having to come up with money?
Look, banks are going to fail. They loan trillions of dollars to Americans who can't pay it back.
You say let the market work itself out. Well, we're going to have failure, we'll have a recession, but that will be less painful than what you say is going to happen down the road.
Because remember, if we would have had a more severe recession back in 2001, 2002, we wouldn't have had these problems. But the government intervened. They didn't want that recession, so they pushed off the problems. Now we're getting the problems in spades, and now you have the politicians again. They can only see as far as the next election. They don't care how much long-term damage they do. This is going to destroy the value of our currency and send prices through the roof.
This is a political decision, not an economic decision.
Is it good to make economic decisions, Peter, in the midst of a political crisis? I mean, it wasn't the Homeland Security Department created in the midst of a political crisis?
Governments love crises because they get more power. You know, we got the withholding tax as a temporary victory tax in the Second World War. We won the war, but we still have the tax. You know, the problem is the government never cedes this power, and this is an economic crisis.
If the Fed hadn't acted now, in your opinion, what kind of recession would we be facing?
Well, first of all, we're not in recession. We've had 2 quarters of economic growth.
Do you think we would be recession?
Because the government is lying about inflation.
There's nobody who lives in America who believes that.
The government is assuming annual inflation is 1.2% a year. That's how they get these phony GDP numbers. Look, we're in a bad recession.
Look, the Federal Reserve should not be in the business of bailing out people and taking on bad assets. It should be put into something like the Resolution Trust Corporation, which we have. They're going to handle it. We got through this in the savings and loan debacle 20 years ago. Read your history.
What is good about what happened today? What is bad, from your opinion?
What is bad is the precedent that it sets for massive government intervention in our economy, bringing us closer to where the Europeans handle centralized economic decisions. What is good is we've stopped the panic. People all over the country right now are feeling a sense of relief that there's a light at the end of this tunnel. And next week, we're going to start sorting through the assets. We're going to try to find out how deep the hole is, and we'll get through the election. And the election is the biggest peril, because
Peter,
the one thing you don't want to do is have Congress.
Is there any good out of this?
No, this is a disaster. Don't believe the government. You know, the government is telling us that they're preserving our savings, protecting our bank deposits. They're going to loot our deposits through inflation. If you're smart, you'll pull your money out of your money market and out of the bank, buy gold, buy foreign currencies. They're going to turn the dollar into confetti.
You're saying even out of a bank, which is federally insured up to $100,000?
It's not safe. You get your money back, but you lose the value of your money. The purchasing power is going to collapse. Forget this phony rally we've had in the dollar in the last few weeks. The dollar is going to literally fall apart based on what they're doing.
Ali, that's pretty scary advice.
There is validity. The fact that if you keep printing money, that you just dilute the value of the money that you've got. These are all important discussions.